Hey everyone, welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining me for this episode. I am so excited for this person. And before we get there, I just want to remind you to set those alerts so you get reminders every time we have a new episode on Tuesday. And follow us on social media because you get updates there as well. So Robert Taylor, for anyone who doesn't know Robert Taylor, you will recognize him. He was in The Matrix. He played Agent Jones. And I know that there are a ton of Longmire fans out there because you guys have been asking me for a Longmire cast. And here we go. You know, Longmire was such a huge part of my career. And it's so funny because so many people don't even know it existed. For all my sci-fi fans out there, they think that I had like an 8-year dead zone of my career. But I was out doing a Western in New Mexico. We had 3 years on A&E. The show was very successful with a demographic that was not appealing to a network, so they canceled us. And then Netflix came and picked us up for another 3 seasons, and we got to finish the series. We did 6 seasons in total. It's on Netflix if you haven't watched it. But we started in 2010, and we ended in 2018, and it was a really, really phenomenal show. I think that it opened the door for a lot of the Westerns that we're seeing these days. And we've been trying to bring it back. You know, Robert and I touch on that in this interview. But, you know, we pick up sort of in this weird place where I'm sort of setting up the microphones and Rob's like deep into Adam Bartley's whiskey already. So I think you pick up this interview mid-conversation about me being difficult on set. I know it's hard to believe, but there was a moment I think where I showed up for season 1 and I was a little exhausted because I'd been filming Riddick and I might not have been the easiest person to work with, but learned a lesson and, you know, now I'm an angel. But I want you to enjoy this episode, so I will get out of your way and let you hear my friend, Robert Taylor. Enjoy. Welcome.
Good to be here, Katee. Good to see you.
To the Sackhoff Shit Show.
Katee Sackhoff.
The Sackhoff Show.
I was involved in that for a long time.
My shit show?
Yeah. But it was, you know, here we go, straight into it. I always thought your shit show was not much of a shit show. I remember I used to say to you, your pathetic attempt to put on a shit show is not very impressive. You know? You'd stamp your little foot. And anyway.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I had a guest on who I worked with during Longmire. Do you remember Tate Fletcher?
Yeah.
So Tate is on Mandalorian with me. He's Heavy Mando or Paz Vizsla. He trained me for that fight that I did with Gina Rodriguez.
Right.
And during that time, I thought that I was just a little brat.
You weren't, though.
But see, so
you thought you were,
yes.
But you weren't at all. It was pretty cute, actually. I can remember it well. Oh, bless her.
Oh, no. But it was sort of that thing. I look back, I just watched the first couple episodes of Longmire.
That's what was so likable. One of the things that was so likable about you that you, I can't, I mean, if we even say this on a podcast, I've said it to you before.
There's not that much that we can't say on this podcast.
You were a Trojan on that show, Katee. You were an absolute beast. You always showed up. And let's get right into it. The best compliment I could ever pay any actor, in my humble opinion, was they're in the scene with you. And you were always in the scene. I almost said the F word.
You can say the F word. Not many children listen to podcasts.
Okay. No, you always were. You always were. It was like that woman, you know, she's just always there.
No, I appreciate that.
That's true. I'm not the only one to say that. People say a version of that too. So,
Longmire, it came up in a weird time in my life, as you know that. Like I had done 2 pilots back to back that failed, that I was the lead of, and I really needed. I felt like I skipped a step. Like I wasn't ready to be the lead of a show yet. And I feel like the universe was telling me to slow down.
We still work.
You're not
really. I mean,
not really. Well, I didn't do the workload you did, Rob. That was insane. I have never That was crazy.
It was a lot. But
you worked your ass off on that show. I just showed up 3 days a week, waved my little ass around, and then got to go home.
No, that was Bailey. Sorry, can I say that?
Did you know that one time they put someone accidentally put his jeans in my trailer, and I couldn't get into it? I literally was like, these are not my jeans. And I immediately knew that they were Bailey's jeans. Like, I didn't try them on. I tried them on to see if I could actually fit in them. And I didn't want to go any further because he had that.
Yeah, they used to spray them on.
Just sprayed on.
Sprayed on jeans.
Sprayed on. Mine had stretch in them. His were sprayed on.
Yeah, well, he looked good in them.
He did look good in them.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far into this because I want to talk about Longmire, but I want people to like know a bit more about you because you're sort of like the man, the myth, the legend, in my mind anyway, because you came into Longmire as an Australian playing like a quintessential Americana type character. And people said, or the producers had said that they couldn't find an American who could actually play this character, which at the time I was like, that's crazy. But I get it. You did it better than anybody else. And It was absolutely amazing. The character is so beloved by everybody. What was that experience like and how did it come to you?
Oh, I was in Australia and someone sent me a thing to put a test down for the show, I guess. And I remember going to do it with this guy. It was an interesting guy on this busy road in Melbourne. And big kind of muscly guy that used to be a famous actor, and John Orsick was his name. And he was great, and we did it and sent it off. And then I forgot about it, Katee. And just a month or 6 weeks later, it popped into my head. Oh, that show, that happens all the time.
A month or 6 weeks later?
Yeah, it just gone, and I forgot, I guess, whatever. Because I thought I was I could do it,
Yeah.
And right on cue, the phone rang.
No.
Said, you got to come to L.A. tomorrow to read for the network. Right?
Huh. Tomorrow. From Australia.
Yeah,
sure, just let me.
Yeah, no problem. And maybe it was 2 days. I don't know. And you know yourself, sometimes you go and you do something, and when you usually read for the network, for everybody's listening, it's when you get to the last bit, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 you left. You negotiate the deal. You all go in. There's a room full of people in suits, men and women in suits. They all look as nervous as you do. Mm-hmm. Don't know where to look. You know what that's like.
Because they want you to get the job.
They want you to get the job, but it's so unnatural. But we did it. I think it was the old Warner Hollywood lot. So it was a film set. And there was, unattractive crew members and darkened corners. So I felt right at home.
You did an actual screen test?
When I came back, yeah. And they had 2 cameras, I think. And I did it. I can't remember who I did. But I just... sometimes you just feel, you just nail stuff. Oh my God. And at the end of it, it was quiet and there was just this sobbing and it was the makeup lady everybody went really quiet. I remember Greer and Hunt and John Coveney afterwards. And I just knew I had it. I knew I couldn't do any more.
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling. It's like if you don't get the job, it's out of your control, but you don't feel that you didn't do your best work, and if you do that, you're like, well, what more can I do? Mm-hmm. The universe said no, so fine, life goes on. And I remember they said, we'll drive you back to your hotel. I said, no, I think I'm going to walk. So I walked through Hollywood, went to an old restaurant I used to go to, stopped for a couple of drinks. I thought, yep, could not have gone better. Huh. And I flew back to Australia, and I knew the call was coming, and Greer called a couple of days later and said, you got the job. I mean, I was right for the role. I was, but oftentimes, and you know yourself, you would have had times when you were perfect for a job and you didn't get it.
100%. Because happens every day.
You would have had that 50, 100 times in your career, no question. And, other forces at play, studios or marketing people or something, director wants their friend or whatever, and you just don't get it. So I felt like I was the right person, but that doesn't mean you get the job. But I did.
No, a lot of times it actually works against you.
Absolutely.
In a weird way. Because not casting directors, I don't know who it is, the proverbial them, I guess. Mm. They want to be so smart they don't want to pick the person that's so right for it because it's almost too easy. They want to find someone difficult. They want to find someone that's like, hey, look who we found.
Yeah.
Not the right person for the role. And that's the thing that I find so infuriating in this industry so many times.
So many times.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Anyway, whatever.
So how did you when I was doing this research, because I researched you when I was doing this,
You know me. Come on.
Well, I know you, but I didn't know you were on an oil rig. I didn't know that your parents got divorced and then you didn't live with them anymore when you were 9.
Yeah, I got shipped off for a bit, but that was kind of a fun thing because I lived with my aunt and uncle, and they lived on an island that had an iron ore mine on it on the top of Australia. So that wasn't a bad thing necessarily for me. I kind of enjoyed that. Then I went back.
How did that happen? I mean, were your parents just going through so much that they were like, you know what, right now we might need a break?
Yeah, maybe. I was pretty young at the time. I think it was a little, I don't know, it might have been a little traumatic.
You were already a little shithead?
No, I was like, I remember one time my mom told me, because my daughter's, she's a handful. She's a little pistol, as you know. She's a little Katee. And you got one, you're going to know.
I'm ready.
She'll probably be an angel.
God, she's already not.
Uh-huh.
No. So you get sent away.
Yeah.
You live with your aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful time.
They were kind of crazy too, but it was kind of interesting. They had all these kids that had grown up and moved away. And so I was living with them, and it was that part of the world where it's super hot. People go tropo. They call it mango madness, where people were just like on the outer extremities of civilization, and people lived there in these mining camps and these places. I just did this Netflix thing in Australia in an outback ranch, and it's like that. They're all crazy.
So people just go a little nuts?
Nuts.
Is it because they're so far from civilization they go a little crazy?
Hot, and they're just the people that thrive in those places. Maybe people that live in the backplots of Alaska or something, they're really interesting people, but they're just different people. Yeah.
Are your aunt and uncle still alive?
No, they're long gone. Bless them. Yeah, but anyway, that was interesting, and I got to work on, there were tugboats and ships there, so I got to work on tugboats and stuff when I was young, and, the stuff we used to do, the places we go swimming, the crocodile and shark infested. You didn't even think of that when you were young. It'll be all right, mate.
Somebody just explained this to me in Florida. I was like, I would never swim anywhere here. There are alligators everywhere. And they were like, oh, no, they're just lazy alligators. You swim right next to them, you'll be fine. I was like, fuck no. No, will I ever do that?
I know 3 people have been attacked by sharks that I know. One was a friend when I was a kid, his dad. I did that shark movie, and I got buddied up with this New Zealand guy, that Meg movie, Kinascole. And he's like one of those people that have ice in their veins. You got the SEALs and the SAS, and then there's a whole, they're like the guys that climb the sheer rock face with no ropes on their own.
Right, not for accolades.
For days and days.
Because they're bored.
And then they just get in their little Fiat and drive home. Mm-hmm. In their North Face little jacket. And they never, they're just, so this New Zealand guy, Kinascole, I said, how many stitches? He said, oh yeah, they still counting at 500, Anyway.
500 stitches in his life in entirety?
In one attack.
One attack.
Yep.
I just had an audition, speaking of, that I put on tape. And one of the lines in the audition is basically talking about sharks and humans. And the line is that, there's this primitive species that are killing machines, just monstrous beasts. And they kill, and then there's this fragile humans basically. Yeah. And these monstrous killing machines kill 5 out of 9 billion people every year.
Yeah, and they get all the press.
And the fragile creature kills 100 million.
Yeah,
or
of course.
Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
every
collateral
year.
damage and nets
Every
and
year.
stuff, and Japanese like shark fin.
And yet humans are still scared of sharks.
Because there's no defense.
Yeah.
There's no defense from those things. They're just, I've seen them up close. They're beasts.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
You've seen them up close, like surfing?
Yeah. Surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see them. You see them. You know. Better if you see them. Anyway.
I remember scuba diving when I was a kid and I cut my leg on brain coral on the way down. And like when you're underwater, I didn't feel it.
No.
So I was just like blood floating in the water.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the instructor, like 3 people, I was 12. They like circled around me and they were basically telling me to go up. And like, you can't go up quickly. And they didn't want to tell me why. I thought it was like an issue with my tank or something. And so I head up. And as soon as I get on the boat, they tell me there was a tiger shark close by. And they were like, we need to get you out of the water.
They're aggressive.
And so, yeah, that was the closest I ever came. Okay, so then you go and you work on
I was in
oil rigs.
Well, I ended up on drill ships and platforms and stuff. Yeah.
Is that because you were looking for work?
No, I was going into the Navy. I got accepted to the Naval Academy in Australia, but it was in those days it was a 12-year commitment, and they weren't doing any. Yeah, they put you through a college degree, and then they weren't doing anything very exciting in those days. They were going to New Zealand or Singapore, maybe San Diego, but that was it. And so I ran away to sea, but in the Merchant Navy, and then I got on drill ships and production platforms, jack up, oil rig, roughnecking mostly.
But then the oil rig that you were on crashes?
Oh.
Did people die on that ship?
Oh, there was one. Yeah. No, somebody said that we didn't sink. The one we collided with, they sank. The other guys sank.
Oh my gosh. I was reading this. And I was like,
somebody told me that. I said, no, we didn't sink. They sank. We collided with them and they sank.
Oh my God.
So that was, that was unfortunate.
But okay, so after that, did you then kind of went, all right, I've done it. I'm going to just pretend to do it from now on. And you decided to be an actor? Like, what was the transition there?
So I got banged up a bit, I guess, and I was in the hospital. And I remember I'd always interested in acting. And I'd never even met anybody that had an interesting haircut, let alone, my family were all farmers and nurses and just regular folks, and there was one side of the family. It was a little bohemian, but whatever. And I guess I was in the hospital and I saw a thing in the newspaper that said auditions for this acting school, which according to the Hollywood Reporter a few years back is in the top 20 schools in the world these days. And a lot of famous people have gone there. But when I started there, I auditioned. And I thought, well, I'll meet a lot of girls and maybe make some money, You
became an actor to meet girls?
Maybe. Well,
because you talk about how good looking you were.
Oh, I was a wrecking ball. Katee, it was bad,
One of the things you've said to me over and over and over again is, I used to be a looker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. I was, every guy wanted to fight me and most girls, anyway. No, it was, I tell my wife that all the time. She just rolls her eyes.
Of course she does.
Yeah, whatever. No, I used to.
That's just what Aish wants to hear. Is like, I used to be a good-looking man.
I know. Well, anyway.
That's not true. You're still a good-looking man.
She had her 50th last year. We all went to Bali.
I know. Adam was there.
Adam came over.
I know.
He came and he had a fun time, I believe.
He did.
I was in the middle of a show, so I was only there for a few days. But Adam, he made some friends.
He made friends.
He made friends.
Adam is a very friendly person. He meets people all over the world. He's so easy to be friends with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's lovable. Where is he?
He's not here.
Oh.
We'll meet him later.
He's doing legs today, he said.
I haven't worked out one day in 6 months. I need to do that.
Good for you.
I need to do that. Okay, so then you end up acting.
Yeah. Well, I got into that acting school. I think they just couldn't believe that. Who is this guy?
Because you were literally like one day you were a roughneck. Yeah. And the next day you were like,
I'm in the acting school.
I'm in an acting school.
And everybody's wearing black T-shirts and tights and hugging each other indiscriminately and sobbing in corners over because I'm tired. I'm like, whoa, who are these people?
Was that weird for you?
Totally weird. Totally. But kind of liberating and interesting and different.
Why was it liberating?
Well, I don't know. I just found it really interesting. And I mean, after a year, to be honest, I thought, I don't know if I can learn much more here, but I thought I had to finish the 3 years so I could do the graduation and get an agent.
Mm-hmm. You just get an agent if you graduate, or is
it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
It's become a prestigious place. Mm-hmm. A lot of people you've heard of have gone there, I guess. And so, yeah, I finished that. And just, but like we were saying before, that old thing of who they hire, it's, I looked like I was, a lifeguard off the beach, I didn't realize at the time that I just looked like this. I should be on Baywatch. I was nearly on Baywatch. I should have been on Baywatch.
You should have been on Baywatch.
Turns out, because I'd been a lifeguard in Australia. They're pretty, and lifeguarding in Australia.
Lifeguarding in Australia.
It's like the best, dude.
Yeah, but like lifeguarding in Australia, like you're like legitimately saving people.
Oh, you're not
like a lifeguard in a pool.
It's a huge volunteer organization. There's surf clubs on every beach, and kids join when they're little. They call them nippers, and they learn to paddle boards in the ocean and to swim and surf and how to, do CPR. And they have huge competitions. And the standard is off the scale. Like the guys that win the swimming races are like Olympic swimmers. And we have surf skis they paddle. They're Olympic kayak gold medalist standard. So it's an insane level.
Well, they do one of those boat on the Gold Coast. They do like a lifeguarding boat challenge.
Surf boat, yeah.
Yeah. But they have like competitions.
Totally. I used to do them when I was a junior, man.
Because I was there and I was like, what are all these boats for?
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And did you notice they pull the Speedos up
their butt cracks?
Yeah, you know why?
No.
Because the seats, they're wooden seats, but they're lacquered. And you slide on it better if your butt cheeks rather than the material. So there was a whole cohort of people that used to come and watch all the guys row the surf boats.
Because their butts were showing.
Hanging out. And now the girls row the surf boats as well. So there's another cohort of people that come for that. There's this whole thing going on.
Why do you want your butt to slide on the thing?
Because you're sliding as you row. You push back.
Oh.
You slide.
As instead of sticking.
And if you're rowing a scull on the river, then the whole thing is on little wheels and ships and it slides. But no. Because you're going through waves and photos, Speedos just up your ass. It's so weird. You see these guys, everybody does it.
Well, I do that too now.
So you slide?
Well, not so I slide. I find that it's actually more comfortable to have your swimsuit a little up your butt than it is like around the bottom of your butt.
Well, you don't get any complaints, Katee.
Maybe it's just because I'm getting older and my ass is not as high as it used to be.
I'm not even going to mention it, but I'm sure.
It's easier for
It's magnificent.
I'm no longer expecting the swimsuit to hold my ass up. I just let it fall out. It's fine.
It was, anyway, I'm not even going to say, but it was always, more than acceptable.
Thank you. So at least once a convention, I do have an older gentleman tell me that they basically in a very, very, they try to be as polite as they can. Yeah. And respectful as they can. But basically what they're saying is that I really like your ass.
Well, that's not a crime.
No, it's not a crime.
I
think it's cute.
Yeah. What, your ass?
No, the old guys. I like that. It's better to have an old guy tell you that your ass is...
Who are they hurting? Come on.
If it's like a 20-year-old, it's like
and the fact that he came to you and said it in his kind of slightly stumbling Presbyterian way, it makes it more endearing.
Yes.
Look, I just want to, tell you as respectfully as possible.
That you have a cute butt.
Yes.
My ex's father told me that he liked the way the gun swished on my hips.
Oh.
He was like 84 years old or something.
Oh, bless him.
I know. It was so sweet.
It did used to swish, Katee.
It did. I've since learned that I have loose hips, Rob. Because on Mandalorian, my hips move a lot. And I had no idea that this was actually, and my husband, Robin, goes, babe, that's just the way you walk.
This is the way you're put together, kid.
No idea. I think it's that I have hip dysplasia.
No, you've got a good walk.
But I literally have hip dysplasia.
It's a good walk.
Could be.
How far are we going with this walk? It's pretty fine.
This walk's going to get us picked back up again.
Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
You just have me walk through the studio lots. You never know.
You never know.
So Longmire happens. You get the job.
Yeah.
Was Aish pregnant at that point? Because Scarlett was born during the pilot.
Yeah. And I was going to be back. You spoke about hip dysplasia. I don't think this is a secret, but I was going to be back in time for the birth in Melbourne. But Scarlett was breech. So they C-section took her out a little earlier. And I said to Aish, well, I can pass on this job, but, school fees, beach house. She said, take the job.
School fees, beach house.
Whatever, like life-changing job. It's an unbelievable opportunity, for a roughneck from Western Australia. And so it did it. But so I missed the birth by 6 days. I got back. And, here's Aisha's mom died when she was 6 or 7. So she was raised by her aunt, who's her mom's sister, who's just one of those, she's an earth mother. She's an absolutely divine human being. She spends her life helping people and everybody adores her. So if I'd have been there, being completely useless, Katie, all that blood, her aunt, who's like her mom, she calls her mom, would not have been there. So the fact that I wasn't there meant that her aunt, who's her mom's sister, and that was there. And we had a girl, and that, to me, completed the circle a bit. And I thought it was beautiful. So, I missed the first week of my daughter's life, and she's not complained to me once. So I said, do you remember? Was it traumatic?
It was very traumatic for her. She'll bring it up at some point. Trust me. You'll pay for tons of therapy because of it.
Yeah. No, I just pay for tons of stuff.
That's
makeup
teenage girls.
Mostly. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
But I understand the desire or the inclination to say that you would turn it down, because I have done very similar things, like in having a child and being a working actor and sort of going, I don't have to do this.
No.
And, my husband, to his credit, every single time says, over my dead body, will you not do this?
Yeah, of course. He understands the business. It's like these opportunities. Yeah, of course. You have to say that, though. You've got to say, I wouldn't do it. But the partner that lives with you, he's in the business. He understands it all freaking day long.
Because I would not do it.
Of course you would.
The guilt
of course you would.
If I were to Mandalorian, for example, my daughter was born in the middle of filming. I went back to work 36 hours after she was born. Had my husband not been on board with had I married a man who wanted to hold that against me for the rest of my life,
you wouldn't
I would have never.
No, he's kind of a saint, though.
He is a saint.
He's a good guy.
He's a really good guy.
Hey, Robert.
And everything happens for a reason. But so I do understand that, because, your children mean more to you than anything in the world.
I've only got one. I wish I'd had more, but I only got one. So yeah, absolutely. And I was, we were shooting on the pilot. You remember the pilot at the
I remember where we were shooting.
Taos, the trailer park.
Was born.
Yeah, John Bishop was there in his Y fronts. Dave Bauman had a beer for me on the props truck.
I remember all of this.
I know, it was pretty special.
Because I remember you were FaceTiming.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched it. I mean, I literally, they were like, Rob can't do this take. He's going to go watch his kid be born.
I know.
But it was
But she was a C-section, so she was behind the thing. I didn't see all that blood. And they picked her up and she peed in her mom's face.
She peed in her face?
Yeah, it's pretty standard, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it happened.
My daughter didn't pee in anyone's face.
Well, give her time. I didn't know. So I didn't mean that like that. I meant
Sorry, I didn't take it anyway.
I meant kids do it.
Kids pee in their
Little
faces.
kids do it,
I understand. I taught her how to pee like a boy, like in the shower, because I thought it was funny. Because
she looks just like you,
She does. She looks a lot like me.
She's gorgeous. She's divine.
Thank you.
She's beautiful.
She actually looks a lot like Robin when he was a baby.
Yeah,
she's got his eyes. But
she's got that little Katie thing going on.
She does. She's got a wild straight. Yeah. She walked, I was not yesterday, a couple days ago, she was in a mood, as she is. She's 2. And she decided that she did not, she was upstairs with the nanny. And so I was like, and I heard her being a little bitchy. So I was like, I'm going to go upstairs and like put an end to this. Because, she's got her little thing going on right now where she's 2 and she can be she's pushing these weird boundaries. She doesn't understand what she's doing. She's just being emotional and she's all over the place. So I walk up the stairs, and as I get to the top of the stairs, the baby gate is open. She looks at me with like dead eyes, slams the baby gate, keeps walking past me. I share a look with our nanny. My daughter continues to walk past and goes, I just need some time, mommy.
Oh, no.
And keeps going.
How old is she?
2, past me, slams the bedroom door, opens it back up, and just goes, I need time. I'm taking time, and slams the door again. And
so cute,
I am standing there with our nanny just cracking up.
It's so cute.
She's so funny, but she's such a bitch.
No, she's not.
She is. She's so wonderful.
She's perfect.
She's figuring it out.
Yeah, the kids. You got to write that. You got to get a little exercise. I'm sure you do, and write the stuff they say.
God, I don't do any of that.
Please,
I'm such a bad mom.
You forget. You're not a bad mom. You forget.
Yeah. I bought one of those books to like fill out, and I was like, I'm not this person. I want to be that person.
No, that's the weight and everything. No, just like the back of anything, like a pad, just things she says.
Yeah.
She'll start saying stuff that's kind of cool. And like when little kids swear, which you don't ever want, but it's the cutest thing in the world.
It is.
When they say stuff like that, like, oh, I just need time.
She does.
I need time.
Because she knows she needs time. I need space, mommy. Mommy, give me space.
Yeah. It's, they say the cutest. I don't know if I can say here, but whatever. So we're in Santa Fe, we're doing the show, and I got up early to go to work, and Scarlett's, I don't know what she is, 4. And I was reading the news on the internet online before I went to work, and there was some, I don't know what it was, a murder or something terrible. And under my breath, Katee, I said, fucking animals. Yeah. Dada, are they boy fucking animals or girl fucking animals? Dada, can we meet the fucking animals? Dada, how many fucking animals are there, Dada? Can I have a fucking animal? And I'm like, They do shit like that, man. It's just the cutest thing in the world. And you're like, you're aghast and you're laughing at the same time.
It's so hard. I saw this wonderful thing, and it actually works. Like if your kid says a swear word, you don't pay attention to the swear word because you don't want him to say it.
No.
Instead, you go, you wait a little bit, and then you say, you can say that word, but please don't say fluffernutter. Please don't, oh my God, please don't say fluffernutter. Oh my God, don't say, or whatever word you can come up with that is not a swear word, and just act like it would be the worst thing in the world for them to say it. And then they say it, and you're like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh gosh, please don't do that in front of your dad. Oh my gosh, please don't say it ever again. Please don't say it ever again. By the time you're done, they've forgotten the swear word, and they think that fluffernutter is a swear word, and it is the funniest thing ever.
Bless them.
And then it's gone.
They're so gorgeous when they're little, and it's so quick. Scarlett's almost 13.
Wow. So you mentioned the other day that she's becoming like a woman.
Oh yeah, she is. Yep, she's
got her boobies.
Yeah,
sorry, we shouldn't talk about those kind of things.
There's 2 of them.
My dad took me to buy my first bra.
Oh, no, her mom did that, I guess.
Yeah?
And, my little girl, she's, and I think she's a little self-conscious, but.
Well, I would imagine so many girls are.
Yeah, but bless her. I mean, you just want them to be happy and safe and, have a fun life.
Yeah.
Do cool stuff, work hard.
Not make mistakes that stay with them forever.
Oh, not do any. They'll make mistakes, but nothing. Don't do anything. Don't hurt anybody. That should be the only law, shouldn't it? Don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
If that was just
thou shalt not kill.
Yeah, or even
like maim.
Maim. Don't maim.
Well, you see these videos of these like people these teenagers getting in these fights online, and it is
they recorded it. It's
absolutely horrific to me.
Yeah.
That any of this actually happens.
Mind you, I remember when I was at school, one school I went to, which is a rough school, that used to happen all the time. People would pick fights, and then everyone would go to the park across the street, and there was like an order. There was like a whole, boxing thing going on. It'd be this guy on this guy, then this girl on this girl, and that guy.
But they didn't slam heads into concrete.
No.
You know,
a few punches.
Right. That is, I mean, a few punches is nothing.
No, it's pretty tame when you think about what people are doing these days.
That happens now.
It's just brutal. I don't know, when people hurting people like that, I don't get it.
There's a lack of respect for life, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. It's so crazy to me.
So what have you been doing, Katee? I know you did The Mandalorian. What else have you been doing?
That's it, man.
You moved.
Just raising a little human and trying not to fuck that up too badly anyway.
Terrible twos.
Yeah, and she's super smart. She's got Robin's brain. Like, she's really smart.
Oh, that's... Like,
you've
got a pretty good brain.
She's not like Sackhoff smart. Like, we're smart, but we're the kind of smart that you see later in life because it's like street smart.
Your family, I mean, you know, people don't know Katee's family. They're pretty smart.
But like, she's intellectually smart.
Oh, okay. So she's like
academically smart. Okay. You know, I think she's going to be reading in 6 months. Like, she's just crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I miss you.
I miss you, babe. We should get back together. I just did a Western.
I know. Tell me about it.
It was in Australia. It was Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think I think it'll blow up. I don't know. It's about this cattle ranching family in outback Australia. It's called The Desert King. Mm. And Michael Dorman plays my idiot drunken son. Mm. And he played Joe Pickett.
Yes.
On that show. And Anna Torv, who's pretty cool. I've worked with a bunch. She's great.
Anna's great. She was in...
you two are very similar.
We are. We both auditioned.
Do you go for the same stuff?
Used to. When she was in, what was that J.J. Abrams show?
Yeah, that one. I can never remember the name. Is that it? Yeah.
Fringe.
Were you up for that?
I don't remember. I feel like I was.
You would have been.
I feel like I was, but I don't remember.
She's like you. You know, she's
wonderful,
in the scene, and she's organic and
is she
ballsy and tough and smart and just there, you know. And I love her.
How can you tell if someone's in a scene with you?
I think good acting is. I'm a completely different actor than I was 20 years ago. It used to be all about working it all out. And then the older I got and the more I did it, I thought it takes more courage or more just to, okay, you know it all, and then just forget it and show up and see what happens. I think the sum of the parts is greater. Like, you know, you and I, 1 + 1 = 2. But if we're in it together and we're allowing stuff to happen, it's 3 or 4. And you've got to be prepared to, you know, you work with actors all the time and they've figured it all out. And that's, you know, and sometimes you got to do a bit of that. But when you just see what happens, you know, that's the best compliment I can get. I remember I was doing this movie once, I had a tiny part, and Nicolas was in the movie, and he was in this Airstream trailer, and Sean Penn was directing, and they did it. Started conventionally, you know, wide, 1 take, come in a bit, 1 take, kind of loose 2, 1 take, single, 1 take, close up, 1 take. You want another one, Jack? I don't need it. They were all different, Katee. Every take was different, but here emotionally, the through line, you could stitch any freaking moment to any moment, and it was like a light going on. It was like, oh my God, it's not that he doesn't care, but he's not encumbered by all this extraneous acting stuff. You know, like that people bring in and they know the twitches and the twittering and the shit. So if someone's just prepared to be in the scene and see what happens, it just, for me, it's always better.
I feel like, because I agree with you, and it's something that I've been actually thinking about a lot lately as it relates to myself in this career. I have always been that person.
Yeah.
And something happened to me probably right as I was going into Mandalorian.
Right.
Because the character, for people who know me, and I say this a lot, the character is not like me at all. The character is like very still. She's very calculated. She's very like stoic. She's not me.
But you can do that.
Yeah, but it's hard. I have to focus. I can't just be present. I have to be thoughtfully present. I have to be actively present. And that is not my style of acting. My style of acting is I show up and I just fly by the fucking seat of my pants.
I love that. But I love that. That's
when
brave.
I'm good.
That's always great.
And I miss it. I hate this controlled acting. I don't hate it. That's the wrong way to put it.
But so many times we have to do it. We have to do it. And you just show up and at one today with something. I'm like, oh, okay. And you just do it because you don't. It's not that you don't care, but you don't care. You just do it.
It's hard. Like I don't feel emotionally connected. You know, like if I can show up and just see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I have a much better time emotionally connecting to the experience.
You always did that with me anyway. I don't know what you did with that.
Well, that's because you're good.
Oh.
It's hard to stand across from a person that isn't there though.
You just give it, it's all about listening and just being in the moment and seeing stuff can happen. This will happen. That'll happen. Nothing will happen. Sometimes nothing's good.
Yeah.
The moments when nothing happens.
Those moments, well, yeah. But there's a freedom in zero expectation.
Totally.
You know?
And so many people just feel they've got to, I was talking to Adam about it a couple of hours ago. They got to act and act and act. Just stop acting. Stop it. When you get better at acting, you understand that you stop acting. You just be. And
I've lost that. I've actually gone the opposite direction.
Because of the shows you do and you work with people and they're all terrified if they don't see you doing something. Oh, you got to be.
Yes.
There's all, I always talk about all these non-combatants that we're surrounded by them when we work, and they're everywhere and they're all over us. Just like they have dialect coaches and intimacy coaches and, I'm going to eat my lunch now coaches.
What do you think about intimacy coaches? I don't want to get us in trouble here because we didn't have them on Longmire.
Hell no. And I've been, it was funny with you because I spent a whole 6 months going to the gym and not drinking beer, and I love my beer. I mean, I did drink tequila, and I said, this is a nightmare. I've got to, I'm trying to look good, and it's like, oh, God. And this should have been last tango in Paris. Now here I am, man. It's all coming out. But, I mean, so here's the thing. Like, I was just on this show, and the makeup ladies were there, and there were often makeup ladies or some makeup men, and they said to me, some older women, they're just beautiful. And, one was an Oscar winner. And anyway, we used to do that. We used to take care of the young women and make sure that there was no bullshit. And I've never, in my 37, 8 year, however, it's never been okay to behave like an asshole. Yeah. And especially in those moments. And yourself, they're typically cold and sterile. Hey, Katee, is it okay if at this point I put my hand on your near your butt? Yes. Should we kiss here? That's how. But they create all these fucking things. They do. And they come in and they're all up in your grill. I mean, I was doing something the other day and it's quite a big show and I was doing some ADR and there are all these people there. Well, I've got a PhD and, I don't know, voice or some shit. Just, what am I here for? But then again, you get older like us and I think you free up with your acting, but part of it is caring less. When you're a young actor, you're like, we studied this interest. I really don't give a fuck. If we've done enough. If you don't want me or you don't rate me, I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
I want the job, but I'm not going to chew myself up.
Because that's the thing, right? I want the job, but if you, at your core, don't think I'm right for it,
fine.
Why? I don't want it. Because God help me if I am on a movie set and for 6 months, I am sitting there with the knowledge that you didn't want me.
That's right.
That is awful.
Terrible.
I would rather not have the job. But I also feel like there is a spontaneity to sex scenes that is gone now. And
so clinical.
I think that, and it may be this way, I don't even know, that you have the option to choose an intimacy coordinator, because I do understand that there are many, many people who are much more comfortable with
young actors. Fine,
that is fine.
Fine.
I completely understand
old pros
that.
like you and me, we're all right.
Look, if an intimacy coordinator showed up with you, but it's true though. I've been doing this way so long.
You've been doing it. It's been your career.
I don't want someone telling me how to gyrate on top of a man and how to make sure that you do it. So I mean, I think I've been doing this long enough to know where your penis will be and that I shouldn't be on top of it.
Oh, dear God. I had an email the other day. It was a couple months ago. I was on a show from the intimacy, and they don't even call him coordinator, intimacy choreographer, Robert. Hi, I just want to touch base over the scene. You know, if you're comfortable with this and that. And I was in Australia. I was like, what fucking scene is that? I'm not having sex with anyone in this bloody movie. And so I'm looking, where's this? And it was a thing where I took my shirt off beside a lake to throw some water on my face.
They had an intimacy coordinator for...
She felt the need to reach out to me over that. And I'm like, I just wrote back, no.
You know what's funny? That's insane to me. But at the same time... But if young people want it, and everybody should be respectful and safe. If you're not, you're an asshole and you should be out of the industry. But we also take jobs knowing things exist. Look, we can go back to right before Longmire when I did Riddick. There was a topless scene. It felt gratuitous to me at the time, but it was a non-negotiable. It's in the script. It's happening. Yeah. You either do it or you don't. That's going to be if you don't want the job, you don't take the job. But that's in the script and it's not going anywhere. So I called my dad and I said, what should I do? And he said, you are a 32-year-old woman. Vietnam vet. Yeah. He said, you're a 32-year-old woman. No one's going to think you got a break because you showed your boobs. It's just a boob. No. And I was like, okay. So I took the role.
Good advice.
In the moment, though, I'd never done a topless scene without pasties on. I was petrified. And I didn't want to do it. I was so nervous. Because to me, I was like, this is the first time I'm doing this. And like, it was a crew that like, you know.
They took care of you, didn't they?
They did. But they also, I think, were coming at it with the knowledge of it's just a boob, which it was just a boob.
Right.
And I was like, you know,
2 boobs.
I hadn't eaten for like 2 days. I was like trying.
All that stupid stuff
all that stupid shit we do that I'm sure no one noticed.
No,
but it's of course not. I looked the same 2 days before. But like, you know, you do these things. Would in that moment, would it have been nice to maybe have an intimacy coordinator? Maybe it would have been nice to have somebody come up to me and say, look, we know you don't want to do this. It is gratuitous, but it's in the script. You agreed to do it. Let's do it.
The producer... Yeah, well.
And the director was great. He's like, it's a 3 to 5 second push in. We're going to be off you so quick. And I was
I think they're fine if people want them.
Yeah.
And you know, nobody should feel vulnerable or unsafe. But I'm pretty Presbyterian the way I go about things. And I've always been very careful about everybody's feelings and everybody's okay. And there's nothing gratuitous.
No.
Do we have a sex?
Did we have a sex?
We did, didn't we?
Did we have sex?
I can't remember.
It isn't real.
No, we got, I knew that.
But you grabbed my boobs. Do you remember that?
Did I clear it with you?
Yeah, I think you asked.
Yeah, I would have.
But I think you also said, oh no, because you know what it was?
No, I must have.
My pasty was showing.
Oh, and I covered it.
And the pasty couldn't show.
So I covered it.
So you just covered the pasty.
Rob to the rescue. That's the kind of stand-up guy I am, Katee.
You were like, well, this can't show on camera, so I obviously need to put my hand there. It was hysterical, but like, I can't imagine, like if somebody had been there, like actually walking us through it, it would have made it even more uncomfortable. It's so weird to have sex scenes with someone that you've known for 6 years and you know their wife and their child.
That's right. I know, you know.
It's not.
You know my wife.
Fun.
She just had her 50th in Bali.
I know.
I told you that.
You did.
30 of her closest friends.
We're getting old.
I know. My wife's 50. Well, I'm older than that.
Yeah, I love that she's 50 and she's so much younger than you.
No, she's a couple years younger, Katee. Don't rub it in. Come on.
Speaking of older, do you, and I know we want to talk about this because, well, I want to talk about Longmire. Because it's
the new Longmire, the old Longmire.
You and I have never stopped trying to bring this thing back. I mean, we sort of disappeared for a while.
Photos popped up on my thing. It's you and me in a golf cart at Warner Brothers right after we wrapped, saying, we're going to keep it going. And they kept the sets for a while. Anyway, so listeners, Katee and I, anyway, there's discussions going on, Katee.
There are. It feels stronger than it's ever felt, though.
To me, the time is right.
It feels like everyone is sort of like, we brought this up before, and I know we tried this with like Greer and Hunt, and like we went and we sat down with Warner Brothers, and like they basically respectfully passed on the idea of going any further. And a lot of it had to do with, I think, like a lot of not infighting, but a lot of like ownership issues between Netflix and Warner Brothers.
Of course.
And so it was really just everyone walked away. I brought it up in the past with my reps, and they're like, whatever, no one wants to do it, whatever.
I think everybody wants to do it.
When we brought it up this time, this is the first time where people started jumping on and going like, I'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I've had conversations in the last week, and I've got meetings. I've got dinner Friday night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Sunday, I'm going to go see somebody who you know very well.
Yeah.
And I think our show set the standard for these Westerns. I really do. I'm proud of it. And I think people love it. And I think there's a lot more we can explore. And I spoke to Zahn yesterday in Santa Fe. He's keen. Adam's keen. John Bishop. They're all.
Everyone's on board. Spoke to Lou. Lou's on board.
And I mean, it's a couple of the writers are very keen. I spoke to this week, and they're keen. And you never know, Kate.
You never know what's going to happen. At the end of the day.
It'd be fun.
I think that's the reason why I want to do it.
Be a blast. I just
want to get the band back together again.
Get the band. You know what's sad, though, is we've lost a few people.
We have done.
Joey, someone pointed out to me the other day that you can get messages on Instagram. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Of course,
did you have some from Joe?
I had some from Joey. So for the listeners, Joey was a young assistant director who we all adored.
Joey Buffalino, we all loved him.
Yeah.
Always had a smile on his face.
Oh, God, what a guy. And we lost him last year at 36, tragically. And Johnny Deering, you remember Johnny?
John Deering.
John Deering.
Diane,
Dan Quick.
We've lost a lot of phenomenal people.
Absolutely, but there's another 50 or 100 people that are still with us, and they're our family. And everybody on that show works so hard, and we're all in the trenches. Everybody was respectful. It was if you were an asshole, you didn't survive on that show.
It's true.
You were gone.
Yeah,
you were gone.
It's true.
There was a couple showed up.
They went.
They never got invited. They did one episode. See you later.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Like a good show like that, you don't hold on to bad apples.
I mean, gee whiz, no.
It's too hard. What we do is too hard.
I think that's a good thing in the business. The people that, it just, and you've seen it with people, and they just treat people badly. And you can tell a lot about a person by how they treat the people that have no power. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're prepared to go and get the producers, grill or EP or whatever, and get in their face because you're not happy, okay, respect. If you're being abusive to a production assistant or a teamster, driver, or whatever, then you're an asshole.
100%.
And we never had that.
No, we didn't. What was it about Walt Longmire that resonated so much with you?
Well, I think, I'd like, the clothes fit. That was handy.
That was handy.
I love that guy. I mean, my whole life, I loved the American West. I just loved it. I just wished I could have lived in that time, even though it was a contemporary Western. I probably in my private moments see myself a bit like that guy. I wish. I just loved that he was so decent and so kind of flawed and fucked up, and all the stuff with Jacob Nighthorse. And I used to say to A, dude, like we do these scenes, and part of me is like, why do I hate this guy so much? He seems quite decent. But I don't know, Walt was so straight, but he was also so flawed, and he was so imperfect and so wrong a lot of the time, but always coming from a good place of decency and trying to do the right. I just love the guy. I just love Walt Longmire. I think he's a great guy.
I think that's how I feel about Vic. You know, people ask me a lot of the time.
And the gun swinging on the hip.
And the gun on the hip, the swishing of the hip, the swishing of the gun. I identified with her. I identified with a woman who picked up her life and moved to another state because she did what she was supposed to do, which is follow her husband. But then there was also this sort of like insidious reason as well, and just getting out of town because she had done the right thing.
Yeah.
And so I identified with her in so many ways. And I identified with her of like, you know, falling in love with Walt's strength and honesty and how flawed he was. I think that's why Vic fell so much in love with him, because she saw herself in him and she felt so protected by him. And I understood that. I understood that desire to want to be protected and
old-fashioned and wonderful
yeah.
in a way. And not to be looked down upon.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of old-fashioned values, and in the context of all these imperfections, these imperfect people, you know, you weren't perfect, Vic. Walt was far from perfect. You know, lose everybody. But we were just trying to get through, you know. And also, I love the spiritual side of the, you know, the Native American stuff and the stuff that you couldn't quite put your finger on. Mm-hmm. You couldn't put it in a box.
I love how respected the Native American culture was in Longmire.
And
continues to be.
Yes. And they all speak about it in glowing terms. All the people I know. And I spoke, like I said, I spoke to Zahn today. Zahn, by the way, is desperate to come back on Longmire. I said, dude.
Zahn is?
Yeah, I said, this may happen. Are you going to do it, Zahn? Will you do it? He said, you bet, buddy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Eddie Martinez will be there in a second.
Hey, he'll be there. John Bishop will be there.
Well, John's in jail. You know, I've been hanging with John a little bit lately.
Not in real life.
Well, not in real life, no.
Not in real life.
Bob Bishop, surely his sentence has got to be up. I mean, it bothered me that he was in jail. I mean, he's really a decent guy. Look, he robbed a few banks. You know, he messed up a bit.
I mean, it's a small town. How far could he have gotten?
He's a good guy, you know. He's like, he messed up a little bit. Come on. He's probably done 6 or 7 years. That's enough.
That's enough.
You're out.
Where do you think Walt is right now? Like, who do you think called Walt? At the end. Remember his cell phone rang?
Well, it was you, right?
I thought it was me.
It was you.
It was never answered.
Yeah, but it was understood. Well,
Was it? I mean, I thought it was too.
I thought it was you.
I thought it was me too.
Who else would it be?
I don't know.
My
People
bookie?
talk about
my masseuse. Walt doesn't like massage. Far too personal. Not having it. What is it? My gynecologist? My what does he call it? Oh, whatever. What's the word? Anyway, whatever. Who is it? My dentist? No, it's you, Katee.
I thought it was Vic too.
It's Vic. That's why he's smiling. You know, like. That's
what I thought. He's got like a look on his face that is like, this is the woman I'm sleeping with.
Yes. Well, we did it once. I don't know. So when we come back.
When we come back.
Yeah, we're coming back. My question is, are we back on or what's going on? Because it was always kind of cool that it was never consummated.
It was never.
And then all of a sudden.
Well, I think that they're still together, personally. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're like married.
No.
I think that they both like their freedom too much.
Yeah, and they
not freedom to be with other people.
They got to have issues because it's too can't just be perfect.
No, of course not. No. But no, Vic and Walt are not the type of people that like she doesn't. I don't think she lives with him in his cabin. She may have she's got shit there.
She's got shit there.
She's left a toothbrush.
What do you got? A tooth?
It's been 6 years.
Toothpaste?
Do you think that she could have accidentally, like they could have had kids?
Oh my God. What would the kid be called? Was it a boy or a girl?
She's young enough to have had kids.
Yeah, he's a man. So yeah, he's lucky that way.
Oh my God. I think, if Walt and Vic had kids, his name would probably be Sam.
Sam.
Like something,
Sam Longmire.
Like very American.
Ask your mother.
Sam.
Speak to your mother. Your mother's not happy with you, Sam.
Right? She'd still wear those tight pants.
Oh, shit. Shit. I said shit.
It's fine. We've sworn way too much.
Oh, God.
Wait, just enough. Just enough.
We didn't swear a lot.
No.
So Lou will come back. Luann, I see her because I do the Longmire days.
I know you do Longmire days.
I love it.
What is it that you love about Longmire days?
I love the Occidental Hotel, the HF Bar Ranch. I love.
But you don't get to stay at the HF Bar anymore.
Well, I just booked myself.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I do. I get to stay there. I got a booking this year. I'd love them all there, and that works out fine. And I don't know, Dave Stewart, who owns the Occidental Hotel, is just like we did it last year, and then Dave and John Bishop, Bob Barnes and myself. We did a little road trip to South Dakota, went to Deadwood and checked in there, signed some autographs, and they gave us a couple of rooms. I'm always bunking in with John, who's got the sleep apnea thing. So he's got the machine. He's got a machine.
Looks like a duckbill platypus.
I was just on the central coast of California with him 3 nights, and we share a room. And it's funny, we go and we have a screwdriver for late breakfast, and then we go and have boozy lunch. And by about 8:30, he was like, "Hey, dude, it's time for bed."
Well, you got two old guys who've been drinking all day.
Pathetic. Well, not all day. We have maybe 4 drinks, just an elegant sufficiency. And anyway, but I love just going to Wyoming. I love all the people that show up, love the show, and we have some drinks in the Occidental, and then we go up to Sheridan, we go to the Mint Bar, and the whole cowboy thing.
So the few times that I've done Longmire days, I, of course, as well, adore it. I love Wyoming. I love HF
this
Bar.
Year, I can make it happen. You got kids and want to come on.
I've never felt, it's not that I feel unsafe. There's something that happens when I'm in a big group of people, and it's a big group of people. It's thousands of people, and you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I have always felt out of control.
Well, it is.
And it scares me. It scares me. Like, I don't want to bring my child to that.
No, hell no.
I don't want to, you know what I mean?
Well, you could with Robin. He could be at the ranch, and then you and I, we'll be at the Occidental drinking cocktails.
Because Robin went.
That's pretty good, actually, Katie.
It does sound great. I wish that the HF Bar would heat that fucking pool, though.
Never. It's not. No, they'll never heat it.
They'll never, but they
There's
need
ice
to.
forming on it.
It's freezing.
You break through the ice.
Oh my! It's like a cold plunge.
I know.
Or a hot tub. Maybe they need a hot tub.
What else? Come on, Katie. What else?
I don't know. Well, I want to about Aish.
Uh-oh.
Well, you guys got married after being together for a long time.
Yeah. What
was it that finally? Because you talk about how you were this guy.
Wrecking ball, man. You have no idea.
But what was it? Because you and Aish got married at the HF Bar, which is in Wyoming. Yep. We do this every year, like for Longmire days. What was it that made you finally say, I'm going to marry this woman?
It was the threat of violence. It was 45 pointed at me. No, we've been together a long, 20-something years. And we have a child. Aish was always super independent. And then there was my daughter, and she wanted my daughter to have my name for whatever reason she had. I didn't mind either way. I was happy when she said it. And then, so I'm a tailor. Our daughter's a tailor. And then Aish kind of got a little bent out of shape that she wasn't. I don't know,
I'm still a Sackhoff. I'm not a Gatsby.
Yeah, but some people, I'm totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Aish was cool. She didn't want to be and then she wanted to be a tailor. So whatever, man. So I don't know. So no, I adore my wife, and she tolerates me. Some days more than other. I can be handy around the house. I'm pretty handy, Katie. Like I'm good with tools and shit.
Like you can change a light bulb?
Oh fuck yeah, man. I can build you fucking. I can build stuff. Really.
That's what Robin's like. Like I've dated people who call someone to change a light bulb. No.
That's not how we roll.
That's not.
Me and Robin, we don't roll that way.
No. He literally just built a hot tub himself and did the plumbing, and he taught himself how to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like
he saved $5,000 and enjoyed the experience.
He did. He did.
And also there's a thing in there. It's very old fashioned. We're not allowed to talk about it, but you're his wife. He's your husband. It's like, I'm just going to go and take care of this and not say anything about it. My wife's going to be like,
I'm so impressed.
of course you are. And you ought to be. And he ought to be impressed with shit you do. There's nothing wrong with that.
He said to me one time, and I fully 100% believe him. He said, all I want at the end of my day is for you to be happy. That's it.
Listen, I said that to Adam this morning. I said, exactly what's similar. I said, all I want is for my wife and daughter to be taken care of. And that, am I allowed to say this? He's a real man.
Yeah, I think so.
Takes care of shit.
But that's important. It's, and at the end of the day, all I want is for him to be happy.
Of course.
And
it's a partnership.
That's what it's about. And it took me a very long time to find that. And thank
simple,
God. It's
simple.
so simple.
So simple.
It's so simple.
Someone that cares about you, that loves you, and you have the shared experience, the shared journey. Now you got children.
By the time this airs.
Oh, I'm not saying anything.
I don't know if that'll be news or not. But yeah, I don't know. By the time this airs,
it'll be good.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Anyway,
I hope that this works.
Making another Longmire?
I hope so.
I think it should. I mean, everybody wants to do it, Katee, and you want to do it. I want to do it. Everybody, the people behind the scenes, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. But
no, it doesn't mean it's not. It's going to happen.
We're proud of the fact we made a great show, and we walk away, and everybody can hold their head high, and we did something there. But it'd be nice to do a little more, just to say what happened to him.
I think so, and I also think that at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that I've gone off and I've done other things, and this is not me saying anything about anything, so no one read into this, but I know that I can go back to Longmire and I will be supported. I will be around people that I love, that love me, and we will be making a great show, movie, whatever it is. And it'll be fun.
Man.
And that to me is
back together.
All I want to do is have fun.
Just have fun.
I just want to have fun.
I used to have a joke with my wife, like every year we'd get picked up, and after first season 1, season 2, baby, I'd see her at season 3. I have this little fantasy. I'd like to say season 7, baby.
It would be great.
Having Ace and Scarlett with me in Santa Fe and all you guys and Adam and everybody and Lou, it's just so much fun.
It is.
Everybody works so hard, and we're all into it. And anyway, we're working on it.
We're working on it. Hopefully we'll make it happen.
Things are moving.
What can people do to help us, though?
I don't know. Just keep. Well, there are all these articles keep popping up. There's another one today I noticed about Longmire coming back. So people just got to keep watching it and just keep, doing their whatever.
I think so too.
Hitting it. And leave the rest to us.
Yeah.
Katee Sackhoff.
We're going to make it happen. I'm making it happen.
Yeah. You're a force of nature, miss.
When I get my mind on something.
Oh, fruit.
Yeah, I am. So we'll see.
I've seen it.
We'll see. It's what's going to happen. Well, Adam's almost back. He'll be here in 4 minutes. We're going to go have Mexican food. So.
We're going to have some Mexican.
All right. You guys, this has been Robert Taylor. What's the name of your new show?
I got a bunch. Got Desert King. There's Newsreader. There's Just a Farmer. There's that other movie. What was it called? Kid Snow.
So you're working so much you don't even remember the names of your projects. I haven't worked for 2 years.
No bullshit.
Seriously.
No.
It has been 2 years since I've had a job.
I did that.
2 years.
What is it? Apples Never Fall. They said, oh, it's that Annette Bening thing. I said, do you want to do this? I said, it's a very small role. And I said, yeah, but all your scenes are with Annette Bening and you'll be in a 5-star hotel. I said, I'm in.
I'm in. What is that old adage that an actor said that, you get to a certain point in your career where there is a list of criteria and you just have to hit one of them. It's who am I working with? How much are they paying me? And where is it? And that's all that matters.
Bingo, Katee.
That's it.
All right. Let's go make some more Longmire.
Let's go do that in Santa Fe for a while.
All right, sweetie.
All right.
Love you, though.
Love you, too. Bye.
Bye, love.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hindsight. Thank you for sticking around this long. If you're new here, this is the point where, the can just opens and all the shit comes out.
The proverbial shit can.
We are joined by, as always, my producer, Jeff, and Casper, the guys that don't want to be on camera or on audio, and they are every time because I forced them to. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
There you go. And my husband is back. By popular demand, Robin is here.
There is no demand, but I'm happy to be here.
Applause.
Yeah, hit that preset applause button.
Not-
You've
oh,
got
yeah,
it.
Mine's not working right now, so
Aw.
you have to hit it.
You deserve applause for this interview, yeah.
I don't even remember what we talked about. I know that Rob and I touched on because we really, really we've wanted to bring Longmire back for many years. We've been trying.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
talk
not
a lot
working.
about that.
Yeah.
He said he had some meetings.
He
but-
did. And we've had them since, and they never go anywhere. And it is the weirdest thing to me for all you Longmire fans out there. We haven't given up. From the moment Longmire ended, Rob and I and the producers have been trying to get this thing to come back. And then we sort of all go off and we work on different things. And then we want to bring it back again. I always thought this was sort of like a Jesse Stone type of thing where we could do a movie every once in a while and there's an audience there for it. But I don't understand why they won't do it. There is such a large audience for Longmire, and it seems like the budget's not even huge. It's like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like it's sci-fi. It's like, the cast we're not super famous. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's relatively inexpensive to make, and I just don't get it. Somebody somewhere has the rights or owns this and doesn't want to play nice in the sandbox with someone else, because it has to be what's going on.
They're just holding out for a better deal.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
They're going to wait till I'm 80 and Rob's, 100.
I wanted to ask, Dean, you talk a little bit about how bo-katan is hard for you to play because of how measured and controlled she is.
Mm.
I found that interesting because in my read of it and watching the show, you talk about in the interview how you struggle with that part of the character. But to me, that really is kind of an embodiment of that character, because I feel like there's so much with bo-katan that's going on where she has to be measured and controlled and isn't exactly comfortable in her situation and her skin. So I think that feeling you feel probably in the character is just the character.
I really appreciate you saying that. As an actor, I still have these insecurities, especially when something is like done and dusted and given to the world, because you can't take it back, And I was always concerned and fearful that I had created a boring character because she is so, I use the word stoic, even though it's not perfectly apropos of who she is, but she is very still. She's very purposeful. She's got so much going on behind the scenes that she's thinking all the time. And sometimes that could potentially be boring to look at. And so I've always been a little concerned that I should have done more as her, but I don't think it would have been right for her. Like, I don't think that she's that person. And we talked about this a little bit, just with, I've made a career out of sort of flying by the seat of my pants and being the character whose face moves a lot and being the person who moves their hands a lot and like really just like playing the immediate authenticity of a moment. And that is what I've done. So to play a character that's so still and so thought out and so methodical was really hard for me.
Yeah. Was it different when you're doing it just as a voice versus going into actually playing the character on set?
Yeah, because when you're just the voice of someone, for me anyway, it's not about you. It's about the creator and it's about the show as a whole. And my job is to give you one of my attributes and contribute that. And, Dave would tell me what to do. I never would get full scripts. So I would never understand, what the full story was about things. Bo would have a sentence here and a sentence there. And he would say, this is what happened right before. So give me a take sort of like this. So there was no ownership over it. And, the ownership didn't really come in until season 3, to be honest, where I really took control of what I wanted her to be. And for better or for worse, who she is on camera was who I wanted her to be.
Yeah.
And so for people that don't like her, that was me. I chose that. I chose to make her who she was. And, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong.
No, it's great. I think you're doing great work. Keep it up. Taking it back to Longmire a bit. So you guys talk a lot about how people really appreciate the way you walk with the guns in Longmire and how you get comments about that.
I do.
I think one of the biggest comments is how you fit in them jeans. That's like the line.
It's true.
I like the way you fit in them jeans.
Every time. I like the way that gun swishes on your hips.
And these are people that come up to you at conventions and give you these comments?
It's usually people when they're in well, it's a little of both. I think that sometimes so Longmire has an older audience. Most of the fan base of Longmire is a much more mature audience, which is one of the reasons why we get canceled to begin with. A&E wasn't a fan of the over 45.
Right.
Which is so weird because they're the ones that buy shit. So I don't understand. But anyway, so I think a lot of times older generations of men will say things that to them is a compliment. And that we've now learned that that's like, you don't say that kind of stuff to people. But at the same time, I pick my battles. I'm not going to like my dad sometimes says things that are like wildly inappropriate. And I just not like wildly inappropriate. That's wrong. My dad's a wonderful human being.
Right.
But my dad's generation is the type of generation that would be like, I love the way that gun looks on your hip.
Yeah.
And so I take that as a compliment. I take it for what it is. I don't like to, it's like, I see through it.
Well, that seems like a tamer response. I mean, you mentioned in the interviews some people directly commenting about your ass, so that feels a little more direct.
Those are in the comments, I think, more than in. I don't think anyone's ever done that in person.
I don't know about that. There is a shot one time. Chris Chulak, he's our directing producer on Longmire, who is a wonderful human being. God, I love him. He's so talented. He did a shot one time between my legs. And then wanted me, the camera was on the ground in a parking lot, and he had me stand with my legs on either side of the camera to walk in, and he literally started on my ass. And I was like, and I looked at the shot and was like, it's a good shot. I like it. I see what you're going for, and I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I'm here for it. I agree. Yeah. It's a good ass in the jeans. And it's funny because her walk, if I look at it, is the same walk as Starbuck. It's the same walk as bo-katan.
Yeah.
It's the gun. It is my walk. And it's I didn't realize that I had such loose hips.
Is there a difference in how the guns feel in the different characters? I don't know if Starbucks really carried a gun that much, but...
Starbuck had 2 guns.
Did she? Yeah.
She did. She had 2 guns because I wanted to be Laura Croft. She had 2 guns because it was, and it actually made sense. And this is you guys, this is my brain as characters. My character had 1 gun, but they got into a fight. They got into a gunfight one time where she picked up a second gun and was using both of them. And in that moment, I said to the producers, why would she ever go back to 1 gun?
Right.
Why? Why would you ever go back to 1 gun when you can have 2?
Right.
So from that moment, Starbuck had 2 guns. And it was as simple as why would she give a second gun back? It doesn't make sense. Why? Of course you'd have 2 guns.
Right.
And so it's different. The guns they're all different. So Starbuck's guns were the heaviest because there were 2 of them. Vic's gun was a 9mm or a Glock. It was a Glock, but it was a real gun. And it sat on my hip in a very comfortable way. But those jeans were so fucking tight. They were so tight. I was getting yeast infections constantly. Guys, I'm so sorry. It's so true. Because of the heat of New Mexico and how tight these jeans were, they had to actually, for fans of the show, they had to put me in like a full granny panty. You can see the underwear lines in the jeans because I had to put cotton between me and the jeans and it was dry wicking cotton because there was so much sweat in New Mexico. And it was like, my ass would chafe. And I was just like, this is awful. It was so awful. And so they constantly...
All those fans of your ass now can just picture a denim soup down there swishing around while you're shaking that ass.
It's true. It's so true. It's the things that women have to think about, you guys.
That pivots me to the next thing I wanted to ask you about was intimacy coordinators.
Hell of a segue, Jeff. Nice.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I think first, I think there's a segment of this show we should call it something like things that Katee doesn't explain to the audience that she needs to now explain.
100%.
How many things have I not explained?
So many things.
Is it?
All the time. I'm listening. I'm going, shit, no one knows what you're talking about.
Because I feel like in my mind, I'm doing a good job. So you guys have to stop me when I start talking about shit that doesn't make sense.
It's just stuff that you're so used to that you don't even think it needs an explanation because it's so commonplace for you.
And I think intimacy coordinator people can figure out a little bit. But I thought maybe you could just explain what it is and what the idea is and what the job is with no opinion on it yet.
This is a surprisingly controversial subject.
It really is.
That, right?
It is controversial.
Yeah, it's weirdly controversial, shouldn't it?
It is. I'm totally fine with my opinion of this because I think that intimacy coordinators, for everyone listening, is very, like Jeff said, very straightforward. During a sex scene or anything that could be perceived as
sexual in nature,
whether it just be that you're naked on set and there's no other person involved, anything like that could put an actor, a performer in a situation where they might be uncomfortable, there is now the option, I think, or the requirement of an intimacy coordinator, which is a person who comes like a therapist and talks you through what you might be uncomfortable with and then sort of plays a mediator between the actors and the camera and the crew and what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. And it's all of these things.
And the coordinator's there straight from blocking the scene to actually shooting the scene, right?
They're there a lot. And my opinion is very different than a lot of women. And I think that, or a lot of people just in general. I feel, now listen, would an intimacy coordinator have been wonderful when I was younger? Possibly.
Yeah, I would say you felt like your opinion with Robert felt like you guys, you weren't against them completely. It was more the idea of maybe sometimes it's too much. Like Robert mentions, there was a scene where he just took his shirt off and the coordinator reached out to him and seemed like an overstep or anything. But you also mentioned the scene you had to do in Riddick and where you thought that it might have been nice to have somebody at that time.
It would, yeah. So I think what it comes down to is I think that intimacy coordinators fall in the gray zone. I don't think that it's a black and white issue, and I think it's a moving scale, which makes it hard. I think that there are times when I would love for them to be there because, like Riddick, it was a new crew. I'd never done nudity before. It felt gratuitous to me, and I felt really insecure. I think having an intimacy coordinator in that moment would have been helpful for me. But for whatever reason, myself, when I'm doing an intimate scene with another actor where it is a sex scene or a kissing scene or something like that, I don't want another person involved. There's already the writer, there's already the director, there's already the sound guy, there's already the producers, there's already the network, there's already the other actor. Like, I don't want another person there making things potentially more difficult or pulling me into a way of performing that I don't do. You know, like I said, I am a fly by the seat of my pants type of person. In a sex scene, I would much rather just go for it, you know? And as an actor, you have these moments ahead of time where you're like, it's common sense. For me anyway, I know how comfortable I am with the other actor. I know what the scene is supposed to look like, and I know what reaction the scene is supposed to give the audience. I know those things in my head. I don't need someone checking if I'm comfortable, because that also puts me in a weird position where I'm like, I don't know, am I doing something I shouldn't be comfortable with? Because I feel pretty fucking comfortable right now. Like,
right.
But I do think that it should be up to each individual person. And God forbid you are ever in a scene with a person that you don't feel comfortable with. That is a whole nother level.
What do you do in that situation?
Your job.
Even if you're fundamentally uncomfortable with the person, like, do you just go for it, or do you have a conversation with the producers, or do you work it out with that person?
I personally, for me, in that moment, would just get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
And also know that, like, I am not the character. Like, I am portraying something, and I am an actor. I can act my way through those things, you know? Like, I've had to kiss many people I wasn't comfortable with. You just do it. And I'm not uncomfortable with it. Or if I am in the moment, it's always to me been something that, like, this is just my job.
Yeah.
You're not going to like every person you work with. You're not going to find every person you work with attractive.
Yeah.
That's why it's acting, you know?
Is it commonplace for actors to take advantage in those situations, I guess, before the age of intimacy coordinators? You know what I'm saying?
I have never been put in a situation where I was not comfortable, other than Riddick, to be honest, you guys.
Yeah.
I've never, ever. And I think that this comes back to something we've talked about before on this show. I, from a very young age in this industry, created an alter ego to myself on set. That was brash, that was very masculine, or tomboyish, if you will. That was very confident and overbearing and, like, just big, big. Because I was making myself to be not a victim. So I've never been taken advantage of on set. I've never felt like I was put in a situation. I keep saying never, I guess, but here's the thing. I knew what that was to begin with. I signed on for Riddick knowing that nudity existed. I signed on knowing it was a non-negotiable. I put myself in that situation. So I have never been in a situation where I have felt taken advantage of, or where I couldn't get myself out of a situation. But that is me. And that is it's rare. I know so many women and men that have been put in positions in this industry with a person of power where they felt they didn't have the freedom and didn't feel like they could get out of. And so I know that I'm very lucky.
It's tough because you said it's a gray zone, and it's so gray in so many ways, because you could be dealing with a director, because a director is a huge part of how an intimate scene can be made safe, based on how they block it, how they control the set, how they run things, and also the actor. Like, if you're an actor in an intimacy scene and you're doing a sex scene and you blocked it one way, and then an actor decides to improvise something that you weren't expecting and you're not comfortable with them, all of a sudden they're doing an act to you or on you that you weren't planning on, and can be incredibly uncomfortable. And you could go through it and just grit your teeth, but that's also it's not how any job realistically should be. But to your point, I mean, how do you protect that? How do you safeguard against that? The only way you can really is to say that everyone has to have an intimacy coordinator, because if you don't do that, then you have to have it that they have to request it. And you know what it's like on set if you're the difficult person. Yeah. You can't have, especially young actors, say, you know what, I'm really not comfortable with this. I'd like to request an intimacy coordinator, because then you are worried as an actor, even if it's not warranted, you're worried that you're going to be the person who's difficult to deal with, because you need the intimacy coordinator because you're not comfortable, and it's your problem.
You're right.
The solution is unfortunately not perfect, but I do think that, like, having everyone required to have this person, and maybe needs to be adjusted in terms of how sensitive that intimacy coordinator is, like Robert Taylor taking his shirt off. I think that's too far, but it's a tough thing to solve without putting actors at risk of having to make decisions that make them look like they're not a team player.
I agree. There you go. Yeah. My husband is correct. Like, he's right. You know, Robin is God, you're always the voice of reason.
This is the second time in one day that you said I'm right, and I am digging it.
But it's the truth, though. It is the truth, though. You're right. It's it is one of those things where, in order to protect everyone, or in order to protect one person, you need to protect everyone. And that's why they exist. You're right. There you go. Robin wins.
Great. Well, to keep that train going, there was a lot of love for Robin in this episode too. Robin, I don't know if you've listened to it yet, Robin, but they're really, really giving you a lot of praise. And I was particularly impressed by the fact that you built a hot tub.
Oh yeah, we built a hot tub. I built a hot tub, and then we just are about to finish building our sauna too.
Wow,
Sauna Life. They helped us out with our sauna.
How much do you charge? Because you
need something done in your house.
Yeah, I'd love a sauna.
You guys, I dated someone one time. I've always been I don't know about you guys. I mean, you don't date men, but like I've always, dated people that are very capable of fixing things. They know their way around a toolbox. I then dated someone who couldn't change a light bulb. And
that was your example in the episode too. You kept bringing that up about changing a light bulb, and I didn't realize it. You did not mention me. You didn't mention it was a specific example, but
I won't mention who it was, because it's to then marry someone who can literally do anything was my goal. Robin can fix anything, but what you can't do though, you learn on YouTube.
You can learn anything on YouTube. I've learned all the things I know on YouTube for sure, 100%.
How do you think I became a podcast producer?
There you go. Exactly.
You learned that on YouTube?
For the most part. Yeah, most anything you just Google, like, how do you make a podcast?
This is what sort of surprises me about people, because I've helped people do things like hang TVs and stuff at their houses when I was in college and stuff like that, and I don't understand how people don't figure stuff out, because all I do is I go to their house, I don't know how to do the thing, and then I put it into my phone and it tells me, and then I do that. Like, I'm not coming up with this stuff on my own. And so I don't understand why anyone can't just do that. It's so strange.
I'm the exact same way, but I in later life, I feel like I've realized that people are just scamming me because they just want me to do it for them. Instead of like I don't know how to do it.
That might be it.
You know what it is, though, you guys, is that not every person can interpret direction and instructions. It's not easy, especially if it starts to get complicated. And the perfect example is this. I'm pretty capable.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
But Robin is the measure 25 times cut once. I am the, I screwed it up. I'll buy a new one. I'm the person where if you take pictures off the wall, you've got 10 nail holes behind it. Robin measures everything perfectly, and it takes so long.
Oh, way too long.
So long. Like, he's been hanging pictures down in our media room.
Yeah.
We've lived in this house for a year, you guys. He's hung 2 photos.
No, you want something done fast, Jeff? You need to call somebody else.
Call me.
I won't do it quick. I'll do it right, but I won't do it fast.
It won't be perfect if I do it, but I'll get it done.
Well, yeah, it won't be perfect
fast.
The first time, but after you put 6 holes in the wall, then it'll be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. But you don't see behind that picture, so it doesn't matter.
Every TV I've ever hung on a wall, there's about 4 holes looking for the stud before you finally get
Exactly.
Guys, this is a random side note, but because you mentioned it, I think in the intro, but Robert Taylor playing Agent Jones, I was like, I had no idea he was in The Matrix. And so I looked it up, and he absolutely does not look like Robert Taylor.
I know.
At all. The Robert Taylor I know, like the last time I saw Robert, he was at our house in the backyard drinking Modelo's. What's the dark Modelo's? He loves the dark Modelo's. And just like scruffy and like Longmire. He is Walt Longmire to me. And I look at this and I go, that's not him. That's not, and I'm looking at it right now, staring at it going, that's not Robert Taylor.
Robert Taylor is a classically trained actor. He's a phenomenal actor. He could go on stage and do Shakespeare better than anybody I've ever met. He's a fantastic actor. And the crazy thing about that was, people are shocked that he's Australian.
I was just going to say, there's a comment from somebody about not making fun of the Australians.
I know.
And I was just going to make fun of him too.
It's crazy to me that he's Australian. But my thing is that the irony is that they looked for an American guy to play Walt Longmire forever. And they couldn't find someone. And then they found him in Australia because they wanted this gritty, rough around the edges, everyman, strong male character. and they couldn't find him in the actor pool that they were searching.
I got to imagine, like, he can't go into an audition using his Australian accent, because if he walked into a room casting for Agent Jones and I heard him speak, I'd be like, there's no way you can play this character. There's no way you can play this character.
Well, on this interview with him, he like, I mean, when I heard he was Australian, I was surprised by that, because he doesn't really, either he's putting it on or he doesn't speak in an accent. But as he got more comfortable with you, or maybe as he had a few more drinks, I could hear it coming out here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he is. His Australian accent is quite prevalent.
I imagine when he comes over the water, he automatically defaults into an almost
probably
American-esque version.
I find a lot of people do that. You know, I dated someone who found that there were certain words that he would Americanize because people couldn't understand certain things that he said.
I think we all do that. Kate and I went shopping for Western gear because we're going to this sort of cowboy wedding, and by the end of the shopping trip, we're saying is y'all. You know?
Yeah.
It's true.
It's
all of a sudden,
we're talking super Southern by the end.
Visiting my family in Tennessee. I'm there for a few days, and all of a sudden I'm like, y'all want to go to the store later?
Jeff, you're from Tennessee?
I'm not from Tennessee. No, I'm from Illinois, but my family moved to Tennessee afterwards.
Okay, I was going to say there's no element of Tennessee in you that I can detect.
Well, when I first moved to Chicago, people said I had an accent because I grew up in Central Illinois.
Accent.
Yeah.
Accent.
And I heard we discovered that Casper's from somewhere in the north of Europe, apparently.
Yes, apparently. Do we want to do some comments?
Let's do these comments. Okay, here we go. Cancel Bubble 6535 said, you two touched briefly on product placement with Paul Rudd, saying his character wouldn't wear Dockers. Would love to hear more about this or any real kind of industry insider stuff. I like to think of myself as pretty perceptive, and sometimes product placement is really obvious, but that's not the interesting stuff. The interesting stuff would be most mundane pair of Dockers, because it seems like there's very few outside of the industry would pick up on that being product placement. Have you been involved in projects with really obvious product placement and or incredibly subtle product placement? What kind of money are we talking about for those Dockers, and how pervasive is product placement in the industry? It's a really great question. I don't want to go too much into the Paul Rudd thing because it wasn't about me. And I was, a friend of mine was the producer on that. So I wasn't involved in the conversation. It's just hearsay. Robin missed this. I was saying that Paul Rudd, what I was told was that Paul Rudd refused to wear a pair of Dockers because it wasn't his character, but that they lost a certain amount of money in sponsorship. But then ultimately they put the Dockers on another actor, which I said he has every right to say that my character wouldn't wear those pants. So product placement is everywhere. The most obvious being, let's talk about Longmire. Dodge was a massive sponsor. It was like a Dodge commercial constantly. And my character drove a Dodge Ram. Bailey's character had a Charger. Like, we all had Dodges other than Walt's character, who drove an old Ford Bronco.
Was Rainier a sponsor? And
Rainier was a sponsor, but it was in the books. But I don't know if Rainier paid or they just sent us free beer.
What about those pants of yours that are so famous? Were those Levi's or Wranglers?
No, they weren't. They were whatever pants made my ass look the best, and I believe they were Citizen for Humanity, which is still the case. But so that is obvious product placement, right?
Is that something they discuss? Like, are you aware of that in the shooting of it? Or is it just as you're looking around, you're going, hey, there's a lot of Dodge vehicles here?
So in a situation like this, because I'm in sci-fi, the ability to put product placement is really difficult. You can't have a can of Coca-Cola and a Star Wars ship.
I don't know. You see Demolition Man?
Yeah, exactly. I love Demolition Man. But so it hasn't been as prevalent in my career, but as far as an actor, it's above our pay grade. Right. We find out Dodge is his big sponsor, all these brand new trucks show up. That's just what it's going to be. And there are moments where, and they've got this all pre-negotiated, I would imagine, where there are scenes where they have to feature the logo of the Dodge, or they have to feature this of the Dodge. And per every episode, there's a certain amount that has to be in that, which makes complete sense if they're paying a lot of money to have their trucks be featured. But I've heard stories of, and you're talking as far as the money is concerned, it could be as little as $100,000 for a pair of pants, and as much as, $10 million for,
Right.
your, could you imagine the amount of money for Tom Cruise to drive your truck in Mission Impossible? Like, it wasn't BMW. BMW is a huge, I think BMW has been in the Mission Impossible movies, and they drive around the cars. And so imagine how much that car company pays for that product placement. That's a huge part of that movie, and it's instrumental to the budget.
Right.
So it just depends on what it is. And
is it safe to say that most cars that are like a feature of a show, like a main character drives them, are usually sponsored by that car company?
Gosh, I don't know about that, but I'd say there's a good chance. Yeah.
Right. And to their question about how, is there a lot of subtle ones? I mean, I don't know. Is that... Did they do subtle? Because really, you can pretty much count on if there's a single shot of a logo, it's sponsored, because they also have to get permission for any other logos. If you use a logo in a film, you generally need permission to have that. So feature.
That's the thing. If you see a logo, it was negotiated. You cannot have a logo that was not paid for, or if they're not a sponsor. That is the deal. And so if you see a logo on something, either the production company paid to use it, or they are a sponsor.
There's a whole section of the production company that's doing clearance, something called clearances, right? Where they're clearing these things
all
that are in shots.
Yeah, all the time. So much so that, like, sometimes I remember doing a running scene, and you could see, I don't remember what show it was, but you could see the Nike swoosh on my athletic pants. And in the middle of the, they literally paused. They were like, oh God. And they ran over with a black Sharpie to black out the white Nike swoosh, because we didn't pay for it. It's too expensive. You can't afford that. So, to Robin's point, if you're not seeing it featured, I'm sure it wasn't paid for. It's not product placement, because the goal is for people to see the product and therefore go buy it.
Right.
So K Van 8046 says, thank you for not hating on Australia. We appreciate it. When you've got Canada, why do you need Australia?
To hate on, not to
hate on.
As a punching bag.
Yes,
sure.
yes.
You guys, here's the thing. We're going to Canada on Friday. I'm slightly concerned I've been flagged.
You might have been.
That, I'm not allowed into the country anymore.
What are they going to do? Cause you some minor, I don't know, inconvenience? I feel like that's the hardest they would go.
Not be polite to you at the border?
Yeah.
Oof,
right?
Yeah. Scary.
I know. Here's the deal. If you have a DUI, getting into a foreign country is actually hard. It's hard. I got a DUI when I was 21. I was 0.1 over the limit. You guys, I blew a 0.09, but I will never drive drinking again. I thank God. But the story is, and here's the story. It was my 21st birthday. I'd gone out, taken a cab. I was very responsible, but I was leaving the next day to go shoot Halloween Resurrection in Canada. So I came home, and when the car was coming to pick me up, I went, oh shoot, my car is parked on the street. So having gone out all night and now sober in the morning, I jumped in my car to drive around the block and park in my garage. They pulled me over as I was doing that. I blew a 0.09 and they threw me in jail.
Whoa.
And I had to call my manager and say, I'm in jail. I missed my flight to go shoot this movie.
Oh my God.
It was awful. It was awful. But getting into Canada after that for 10 years was a nightmare. A nightmare. Because I had a charge. I had I had a record.
Wow.
It was difficult. I had to hire so many lawyers. And because I was working in Canada nonstop, think about it, Battlestar. I was coming over that border all the time.
Yeah.
It was really hard. It was really hard. Come to find out 15 years later, it was a clerical error, and I still had pending drug and alcohol charges on my record because the Santa Monica court system didn't hit enter. Literally. That was the whole thing, you guys. It was still said I had pending drug and alcohol charges. But anyway, don't drive drunk, Justin Timberlake.
Topical. Whoa.
Boom.
Yeah. Well, now, because I'm thinking like, God, it's, you get a DUI or a DWI, it makes travel really hard.
Yeah.
It does. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking about that. I hope he doesn't have any concerts in Canada coming up.
Why don't we move to the mail sack now?
Let's move to the mail sack, brought to you by Manscaped. I'm just kidding. It's wishful thinking. Let's get into the mail sack.
Mailsack, we're going to the mailsack. Mailsack, why are we calling it Mailsack?
This is Robin's first time on hearing the song. I mean, I know you've heard the song, but
I heard it, but I've never heard it in the episode. It's pretty perfect.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Again, that's Nicolas from Germany. Thanks, Nicolas.
Thanks, Nicolas. Wow.
Casper's cousin.
That's right. My neighbor.
Oh, man.
All right, you guys, let's get in the sack. Okay, so Jeff said, here's your bitch pudding skit. Remember, you asked for it. Oh, my gosh.
You remember last time we asked for people to give us scripts between Bitch Puddin' and Bo-Katan. So Jeff, spelled differently, wrote
Jeff
this
with a G.
Jeff with a G wrote this for us.
Here it is. Jeff, this is like really professional.
Yeah, working on Celtics there, Jeff? Are you working on Final Draft? What's this written on? Nice work.
I mean, Jeff, I feel like this is not your first screenplay.
No.
Bo-Katan versus Bitch Puddin' and Katee Sackhoff at the sex shop.
Do we need to call it something besides bo-katan?
Yeah, let's call her Bo-Karen.
Great.
Because that's what autocorrect is.
Bo-Karen versus...
Should we call her something else, like a little less on point?
Let's just say it's a unnamed sci-fi character.
Oh my gosh.
Can I read your stage directions for you?
Yes, but we need to keep out the SW.
I'll do my best.
This is hard.
All right. Exterior Bitch Puddin' Sex Shop Day to establish. Interior Bitch Puddin' Sex Shop Day. Bitch Puddin' arranges a display of star character themed sex toys, laser sword dildos, death war ball gags, Darth vibrators, and CPTO butt plugs. We hear the sound of a jetpack outside.
Has anybody read this already?
You guys, I feel like
Mandalorian armor enters. Blaster
here's the deal.
Drawn.
Here's the deal. We shouldn't read this. I'm going to read this because I love you, Jeff. There is, oh, wait. So this is the best part. And we'll only read this part. It says, halt. You're in violation of Star Wars copyright. I've been sent by Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, and Lucasfilm's legal department to put an end to your delivery.
Devilry, excuse
me. And that we should end it.
This is great. That's the most true part of this script.
It is. Oh my gosh. I wish we could read this out loud, but I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Jeff. This does get really weird.
So here's the deal, you guys. The moment, and I've said this multiple times, like the moment I start reading stuff like that, I'll never be back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's true. Insider information. Like you don't shit where you eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We appreciate the effort, Jeff, but
Oh, Jeff. We need to make it different characters. Go back and write a Starbuck Bitch Puddin' one.
This is sort of on me for asking for it, but
also, what do you say? It's a shout out to Casey and Jake for also writing Bitch Puddin' Bo-Katan skits. Wow. All right, thank you.
I love this, you guys. Let's move away from the Bo-Karens though, and just do Starbuck. Let's have some Starbuck Bitch Puddin' stuff, and we can read the crap out of that. A character that's definitely dead. Let's do that.
There was a follow-up from the same Jeff as well.
Oh, also from Jeff. He says, ouch, dude, I feel sufficiently owned. At least I don't spell my name with a PH. What kind of person does that, Jeff?
Boo.
Jeff.
Boo. Boo. Hey, you guys want to hear something really funny? This is a little insider information actually about Star Wars and Robot Chicken. Matt and Seth, the creators of Robot Chicken and Bitch Puddin', are very good friends with George Lucas. So I think that George would actually get a kick out of this, but I'm not gonna jump off that cliff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. David says the Trisha, Katee, and Katee show call it the 2K squareding furniture. What? And podcast on sexuality and sociology.
Also, what? I am confused by that too.
The 2K squared.
TK squareding?
TK squareding?
Jeff, explain yourself. What is this?
This is David. What do you understand
but
this,
Jeff?
Jeff?
chose this comment, right?
No, Casper chose this
Casper.
one.
Casper, do you get this?
I thought you would. I thought it was some nerd stuff.
What is math?
Oh, the damn Germans and the math. Eh?
Oh, David, David, let us know what you meant. Carmen, I did not think I would ever have anything in common with Katee other than being a cool chick, but kiwi allergies, come on now. I found out like 30 years ago because my grandmother would make salads and include kiwi. And one day my tongue swelled and I had the worst scratchy throat. No more kiwi for me. Carmen, the pain, I get it. And it is such a wonderful fruit. I love it. And I sympathize.
You know, you can eat the skin on a kiwi.
I just found this out the other day.
Ginny and I were at the zoo and they were giving out free like zucchinis at the zoo for some reason. And they were just like, eat the whole thing. Don't even peel it.
But it didn't have the fur on it.
No, there's a golden kiwis are easy. You can eat the furry ones. It's just a texture thing.
Technically, you can eat anything. Just whether or not it's good for you or not.
That's true.
It's true. You want to know what this reminds me of?
Yeah.
How many emergency room doctors have found like toy cars up butts?
Yeah, technically you could put anything up your butt.
You can put anything up your butt. It's just whether or not you're going to be able to get it out.
I have a follow-up to this kiwi one. Do you guys consider berries to be fruits?
Yeah, I mean, I do.
Feels like a trick question.
Isn't a berry a fruit?
It technically is, but
Yeah.
if someone were to ask you what's your favorite fruit, you wouldn't answer blueberry, right?
Oh, I would.
I would, yeah. I would.
You
yeah.
would?
I would throw that in there.
This
Yeah.
has got to be an American thing. This is
I thought for
bugging
sure
me.
you were
Is it?
trying to trick us into
No.
something about, because people
No,
are always like,
no.
is a cucumber a vegetable? And no, 100% berries, I consider it fruit.
So you don't consider berries fruit, Casper?
I know that they technically, I had this, I talked for hours. I was fighting with people at my gym about this because.
Oh, wow.
At
And you
the
were on-
gym?
And you were on the side of berries are not fruit? That's the side you're on,
Again,
Casper?
they technically are, but when I hear fruit, I don't think of berries. And when I hear berries, I
You
don't
think
think of.
apples?
But did you know that a banana is technically a berry?
See, that
What?
just pisses me off.
Well,
Yeah.
most fruits are berries of a
Is it because it's in a
plant.
bunch?
right?
Why is a
I don't
banana
know
a
why
berry?
exactly, but I just saw that fact the other day and I have
No.
not fact checked it. So
Yeah.
let's.
Here's another fact that I haven't fact checked. There's no such thing as a vegetable.
What?
I've heard that
It's
too. yeah.
not a biological like name for something. Vegetable is a culinary term for things that they put into this category. So like technically there's things that are leaves. Lettuce is a leaf, but it's not. There's no vegetable
Yeah.
category.
So then what would a potato be?
A potato is a root, isn't it?
Yes.
And a pumpkin is a gourd.
But it's a root
Yeah, but a
vegetable.
pumpkin is actually the fruit of the plant that it grew on.
Oh,
So, like there's leaves, berries, fruits. Lots of things have fruits as a plant genetic or biological name, but there's no vegetable.
When did we start
I
calling
see.
things vegetables?
I don't know. Chefs. I don't know.
This
I
is
imagine.
like, I mean, that's the same thing as there's no such thing as a fish.
Right.
What? You guys are
Like-
blowing my mind.
No, that's a thing. It's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Like
Mhm.
there's a category of fish, but not any one of those individual things is a
fish.
fish. It's
Mhm.
it's a carp, it's a bass, it's a
Mhm.
Right.
And then you got things like the lungfish that just throw a whole wrench into the mix, and you're like, well, what
True.
the hell is that?
You guys, I'm still hung up on Casper having conversations about fruit at
I
the
know.
gym. Will you take
I'm
me
so
through this,
sorry,
Casper?
Yeah,
Are
go
you
back
trying
to
to Are you trying to piss me off by saying conversations about fruits
No,
when there was
I-
specifically berries?
I just want to know what possessed you at the gym to talk about fruit. Were you in the locker room? Were you on the treadmill in like little shorts and like a sweatband? Like, where were you having this conversation?
I go to a climbing gym, and there's a lot of downtime between climbs. So it just
Yeah.
so happened that the topic of the day was berries. We're talking about our favorite berries, and then
Yeah.
someone brought up the fact that they were fruits, I guess, and I was not happy about it.
But your take on this is that this is a potentially a cultural difference, so that in where like in certain areas of the world they don't consider berries to be a fruit.
Yeah, no, but I think, I don't know. To me, it's just they technically are fruits, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Just not in your mind.
Casper, what's your favorite fruit?
well, a raspberry, I guess.
Okay, what's your favorite fruit that's not a berry?
Banana. I love bananas.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we just established that bananas
That's a
are
berry.
berries.
You love berries, Casper.
you Casper.
You just love berries,
Don't
dude.
mind me.
He's
I'm
a
sorry.
berry guy. I have another idea for an email call out.
Oh, do it.
Based off of this, I think people should send us the strangest fact that they know that we may or may not believe.
Love it.
That's good.
I love that.
Yeah, send us
And
those facts.
Where's that email, Katie?
That is the sackoffshow@gmail.com. Sorry, I had to burp. But then I was actually, because I was also thinking we should, after they do that, we should potentially have people do the when they give you 3 things, one's the truth and 2 are fiction.
2 truths and a lie. Yeah.
2 truths and a lie. We should do that with information about fruit or something. The weirdest, because that's actually hysterical.
Give us 3 facts and we'll have to guess which one is. Well, give us 3 facts and tell us the answer, and then we won't tell Katie, and then we'll quiz Katie.
That's a great
Jeff
idea.
really just wants to avoid doing any research. He just won't have to look it up.
He's like, oh God,
Yeah.
it's true. I get that though. I love that. That
right.
We'll do that for the next episode. That'll be really fun. That'll be really
All right.
fun. Yeah. All right, you guys, that was a super fun mail sack.
You got anything coming up, Katie?
So, let me see. This is the Robert Taylor episode, which nope.
Nothing.
Nothing. Like I said, I've got some downtime bonding with the baby and taking care of our daughter. So a lot of downtime. My next convention's not till October. So I'll make sure to let you guys know that. But in the meantime, I'm just recording a lot more guests for the podcast to continue to bring you guys really, really great conversations. And yeah.
Recorded a big one today. Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's a
gonna
good
be great.
one. But until then, this has been fun. Thanks, guys. I will see you guys next Tuesday, and that's what's up.